Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I cover nostalgic, obscure, or otherwise strange content. Today, oh boy, do we have something. So, some of you might remember a couple weeks ago when I made that video about Nancy Drew's Secrets Can Kill, the late 90s PC game made by Her Interactive that spawned an entire series of PC games that were pretty popular as I was growing up. And when I was filming that video, I was talking to my brother about it, and he said, hey, do you know that before Her Interactive made those Nancy Drew games, they made a Vampire Diaries game? And I said, no, I did not. Please show it to me right now. So we played this game together, and oh my god, it is the most insane. I've never seen a game quite like this. I don't know. So I wanted to show it to you guys because I have a lot of thoughts. And I do want to preface this by saying, one, I'm not playing live like I did with the last PC game video because this game is old. It's not even in print anymore. We had to basically run a Windows XP emulator to get an ISO of the game that we found on the Internet Archive running to play through this game. So, instead of having to deal with all that live tonight, I'm just going to be watching back pre-recorded footage. Full disclaimer. Also, I've never, read any of the Vampire Diaries books. I've never watched the show. I'm going to be a little bit confused at some of this, so if you're a hardcore fan, I'm sorry in advance, because this is my first and only experience with the franchise, and when you see what it's like, I'm sure you're going to feel bad for me. Anyway, without any more chit-chat, I'm just going to get into the video. So, the game starts off with an epic theme song. If 1996 was a sound, it would be this. Starting up the game, you're kind of just affronted with the interface and how much it is. It's a lot, much like the rest of this game. And kind of unceremoniously, the game just dumps us into our first scene. We are in an art gallery, apparently. And also, this is one of those mid-90s games where they didn't really have the animation technology going for them yet, so they have these live-action bits of people, and it's a choice. They made a choice, and we have to respect that. We talked to our friend Bonnie. We learned that we've just gotten back from being in Europe the entire summer.
What's gotten into you? Since when did you develop an attitude?
And she kind of gets snippy with Bonnie and asks her why she has an attitude, which I'm not entirely sure why she says that, because Bonnie's not really having an attitude with us. But anyway, I'm just going to say this once right now and get it out of the way, because if not, I'm just going to be repeating it over and over again. Almost none of the lines of dialogue match up with the dialogue on screen.
It's nice to see them, but I haven't seen Matt anywhere. I wrote and told him we'd be back in time for the party.
It's like they had a script and then went, what really is scripting? Ah! It's a common theme in this game that you're just kind of scanning a room and then bam, people.
Everybody seems so excited that we made it back from the Riviera in time for the party.
Okay, this is my aunt and my sister. Who the hell are you?
He got me a drink in a pretty cup, just like Aunt Judith.
Do you remember to say please and thank you?
I remember, just like you told me to. Please and thank you.
When I handed her the glass, she said please and thank you.
I'm sorry, when you handed her the glass, what did she say? Was it please and thank you? This is Damon. He's just chilling with my family for some reason. I don't know why.
Dear, now I'll have to go find her before she breaks something we can't afford.
Oh boy, I better go run off after that 5-year-old so she doesn't go missing. Stands in corner, not moving, not looking for 5-year-old. Here's Caroline and Mikhail, 2 more characters. Another thing I'm gonna say right off the bat, this game has so many Dutch angles and weird camera positions where it just is so crooked and you're just looking up at these characters in such a strange way. I swear, I haven't seen anything like it since the first Thor movie. It is a very strange choice. Also, I know that Caroline's the mean girl and whatever, and we're supposed to dislike her, but our character Elena is also written to be a total mean girl in this too. I don't know if that's how she always is, but she's very
Something better like you? As if.
just not very nice. They both walk away. Oh, no. He's gone. She's still standing there. Here we have two more people that we can talk to. There's a lot of characters in this game. Usually games like this, at least in my experience, only have like 4 or 5 characters. This game has like way more than that. It has a ton of characters. You can talk to other people about other things. There's kind of a lot that you can talk about, but the most important thing you can do is go back and talk to Bonnie.
I mean, you could have at least brought me a souvenir. You know, 5'10".
I forgot to talk about it last night when I was filming, but there's also this bit where they're talking about kidnapping a guy from Europe.
I was going to bring you back a little something named Jacques or Pierre.
Okay, it's a fun little bit, but it's going on for way too long.
Well, you could have dumped a guy in a box with a few air holes and shipped him to me at work.
It's making me kind of concerned now. And then this happens.
Elena, that's Margaret.
So we hear this screeching sound, and when we go into this random back room, Margaret is passed out, and Owl is flying away, and everybody is concerned. Oh, and this game does the same thing that Secrets Can Kill did to us, where you have to constantly be switching discs, but we have an ISO. Checkmate, game. So our sister is unconscious in the hospital. She will stay like that for the entirety of the game, because now we have to find out who did this to our sister. And while we are dealing with all of this in this family matter, Caroline is just like followed our family to the hospital just to like dunk on us and be like, haha, your sister's unconscious.
You Gilberts certainly know how to close down a party, don't you?
I was gonna try to like scoot into the corner of the frame to kind of emulate how far to the left she is, but I can't even get my body that far back. It's such an unnatural place to put a character.
So thanks to both of you, the grand opening was ruined.
Guys, you just ruined the party. I can't believe you would have a family emergency like that. How dare you put somebody's health over a party? It wasn't even a good party, Caroline. Maybe throw better parties and then people won't have fainting spells and have to go to the hospital. I don't even know what that means.
Excuse me.
Here's Stefan. He's got a very intense crush on Elena.
So you must be the patient's sister.
And then Damon shows up and Stefan shows up, and you would think, okay, maybe that's why they've scooted the character so far off to the left. But no, like, all 3 of them are still only taking up, like, half the frame. It's so strange. I'm not over this.
Did you see what attacked her, Miss Gilbert?
And I don't think it was an animal that attacked Margaret. It was too big. And it was like a dark fog.
So you're saying it wasn't an animal that attacked your sister?
Hey, what attacked your sister? Well, I know it wasn't an animal. So you're saying it wasn't an animal? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So now we go back to our creepy bedroom to sleep till the next day. We can also look in this box of random Christmas lights and find matches. And this random candle over here, we can just pick that up too. We also found this. It's this like in-game advertisement for Her Interactive, the company that made the game. It's Meta. Her Interactive continues their dedication to developing quality games for females. I'll be the judge of that. So back at the hospital, Margaret isn't doing any better, but Stefan has something to tell us.
Elena, you're hurt.
Am I, though?
There are wounds that can't be seen by everyone. Psychic wounds.
So Stefan's like, oh my god, what cut your face? And Elena's like, I don't have a cut on my face. And he's like, oh, no. I meant psychic cuts to your face. You know those psychic cuts that everybody gets? So he just randomly makes us move into the back room and then starts telling us, like, yo, guess what? I'm a vampire. It's very out of the blue.
I was born hundreds of years ago. In the 15th century.
15th century? Damn, your skin looks good. What kind of moisturizer do you use? So he tells us about some ring of power, something, we need it to lift a curse, something. Now there's a couple other places we can visit in the town. We can go to the high school, and uh-oh, that's very unfortunate. Let's go into the, locker room, gym area, and uh-oh. Again, I've never, consumed any Vampire Diaries media, so somebody who's, more well-versed on the series can tell me. Are they usually such, Confederate sympathizers? I feel like they're not. They can't be, right? But then again, I was very, very affronted by the amount of, Confederate imagery in this game. It's very upsetting. I definitely don't care for it. We can go into the school library, talk to the librarian, and look at some books. Such riveting material as The Secret Life of Owls. We can go to this place, which we have to switch the discs to get to, and literally all we can do is pick up a shovel and then leave, which involves switching a disc back, so thanks, game designers. That's a great idea. We can go to the cemetery and see the lady from last night at the party. She's like the caretaker of sorts, I guess, and she's just prodding the ground with a trowel. She tells us a little bit more about the guy that was with her at the party last night. He apparently has acquired some kind of dagger that's supposed to be magical, as you do. We can also go into this creepy church, find this creepy copy of the Pied Piper for no reason. Oh, and Elena's voice just kind of changes randomly at different points of the game.
Have you ever heard of runes, Mrs. Flowers?
I can't use that here.
I'm not sure why. What's over here? Don't like that. Don't care for that shit. Why did they make that choice? Someone chose to put that sound effect on top of that image. I don't... Okay. Okay. So now we go visit Bonnie. She's working for the guy that has the special super-powered dagger thing. She basically tells us that her grandmother gave her a set of ancient runes, which they use to, like, divine the future, I guess. But one of the pieces is missing. It mysteriously went missing when Caroline was at her place for a reading. So we put two and two together and realized that Caroline must have taken the missing rune. And I'm not sure how we're supposed to know this, but the game is very clearly prompting us to go and, like, get the rune so we can complete the set. So that's kind of what we go off and do at this point. And the rune is indeed at the art gallery. And even though Caroline very Jesus Christ, very suspiciously came to own that rune, because obviously she stole it. But even after that, she has the audacity. She has the nerve to be like, ha, you want that rune? Well, too bad. You're way too poor to have that rune. So screw you.
Forget it, Elena. It's a very rare piece.
Also, you can get this key off of the case that has the rune on it. And what does the key go to? Well, it goes to this clock. And what does the clock need the key for? Couldn't tell you. It just chimes the clock, and that's it. Nothing else happens. I don't know why it's in the game.
I would rather not even think about it, thank you. That eyesore should be condemned.
What happened to that line? It sounds like they literally had her phoning it in. It sounds like they, like, actually had her call in on, like, a 90s cell phone and record it. What happened? So now we're gonna have to buy this rune, and so we're gonna have to figure out how to get a lot of money. So I kid you not, the way that we get this money for this rune is that we read about these two people that fell in love during the Civil War, because this game literally romanticizes the Civil War. And we learn that the lady was buried with a gold coin that she was going to pay for her wedding with, but she never got to have her wedding. So Elena thinks, I will dig up this coin. I will grave rob and take this coin and use that for the rune. But of course, when we try, the tomb is just casually haunted. So what's a girl to do? Well, we're gonna have to go back to that display case with the Confederate display and steal the hat that belonged to her dead boyfriend, and that will help us get the... Okay, I know. I'm sorry. Do you see why I wanted to get on camera and vent about this game? It's very, very strange. Also, switching the discs is a lovely sound. God. We can also go back to Elena's house and find this one silver ring in her jewelry box. I guess it's like her class ring. And then we can also find this other gem thing in the attic, which is a very strange attic in and of itself, but, you know, whatever. Like, look at the interface in this game. It's so strange. And not only does it do this weird dip thing when you turn, and it just makes me feel, like, almost seasick, but then, like, to get to the attic, you have to, like, know to click in this one random spot in the hallway, and it just takes you into the attic. Very weird. But the two gemstones that we find are gonna come in handy later for the Ring of Power thing that Stefan told us about. That's kind of like an end of game thing though, so we don't have to worry about it for a while. We also get this like pewter dish or something. I think that's what it's called. I could be wrong.
You are very wrong.
But we get one of those, and we'll also need that later on in the game. Alright, but we have to grave rob, I almost forgot. And we can't sneak in at night, at least through the library, because there's this on-duty guard. If we go back in the day, we get yelled at by the guard.
What I really think you need is a tranquilizer.
He just threatened to tranquilize me? Very weird.
You know, I've had it up to here with you kids today. You've always got to have everything all right this minute.
How dare you look at this case that's insensitive and we shouldn't have it up? Get out of here, you rowdy teenager. So the way that we break into the school at night is we go to the cemetery and we grab this random piece of iron and then we use that to like jimmy the lock open. I don't understand, but that's how you do it, and you know what? I'll take it because I want to just get this game over with. Oh yeah, and Stefan's still pouting and telling us about magic and how we need this brass-off dagger, but it's boring and I'm just gonna skip past it because it's not important right now. So we break into the school at night, and if you don't hide in the proper place at the proper time, Damon catches you and this happens?
Blood price? It's you, isn't it?
I did not attack your sister, but I fear the same cannot be said for you.
So he's being very creepy with us. We accuse him of being the person attacking people in town, and then he just sprouts fangs and bites us on the neck and turns us into a vampire. There's so many things going on with that. Not only is it just completely horrifying, but also there's no sound, which makes it creepier and more awkward all at the same time. So now we use our second chance mode, we hide in the proper place, and then steal this Confederate hat. And if you thought that was weird, watch what happens now that we have the hat. So we go to the grave, and we see the ghost, and then we give her the hat. So yeah, the game just makes this detour into helping out a Confederate soldier cross over into the afterlife. Makes me very uncomfortable. And then if you weren't uncomfortable enough, now we get to literally grave rob. We dig up this dead person and we steal the gold out of her grave. Those silly teenagers, am I right?
Welcome to my humble art gallery.
I'm immediately suspicious of this guy. He has a very vampiric voice. Not to, like, judge or anything, but I don't put it past this game be that obvious about who the vampire is. Anyway, we trade our grave-robbed gold for this rune that belonged to our friend in the first place, and we take it back to her, and then this happens.
Beware, Elena. You are vulnerable. Love is your weakness and your strength.
Do not be misled. Time is running out, but you must be strong. The wrong choice will be the doom of all.
She basically does this, like, ritual seance thing, and, like, the voice of her dead grandmother comes in and starts telling us what we have to do to solve the mystery. Super creepy. So now that I'm gonna have nightmares for a week, we now have this secondary mission to go off and gather up all these things so that we can have an end-of-game sequence and solve the big puzzle at the end. It's usually how these games work. It's just this game is, like, super extra about it. So one thing we have to do is open up this door, the secret panel, get this creepy-looking mask, and then go into this other secret door and use the mask to cross over this pit? And then we just phase through a wall like something out of Alice in frickin' Wonderland. And we end up in this room. And this room leads down to the secret room. I love how those footsteps just did not stop when we stopped moving down the stairs. But anyway, we find this secret room under the secret room, off of the secret room, that holds the secret dagger that's so important to us. And this puzzle to get the dagger out confused us so much the first time we played this game. And then when we realized the solution, we were so angry at how simple it is. Basically, you have to click these shapes in order of the number of sides that they have. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we do that, we get this dagger, and now we're just walking around casually with this ancient dagger. We find this key in the creepy church window, and it leads us down to this, like, catacomb type place. This place is so creepy, oh my god. The whole game is creepy. There's another puzzle back here, which basically you have to push these things in the order of the food chain. I don't really know how I feel about the puzzles in this game. Well, I do know how I feel. I don't like them, but, you know. Sorry, I don't mean to be so rough on this game. Usually I'm not as complainy as I am right now, I don't think, but this game is... it's a lot. Anyway, we find this big poem thing that basically tells us, hey, go and get all this stuff and then cast this spell, and everything will be fine. So that's what we're doing now. And so one thing we need is Varvain, like the herb. We can get it from Mrs. Flowers in the cemetery. Mrs. Flowers in the cemetery. Does she plant flowers in the cemetery? That was a stupid joke. I'm gonna cut that out. Anyway, she's like, yeah, I can give you some Varvain, but for the magic to work, you have to trade me for it. Which is very convenient. And you can literally try to trade like anything in your inventory at this point, but she'll only take the little green pestle dish, that's how you say it. I'm good at saying words. She'll only take that. So like you can literally just be like, hey, you want the ancient dagger everybody's been talking about? And she's like, no, that's okay. I'll just take the little green bowl you have.
Will you trade the Vervain for the dagger?
Oh, no, Elena.
Also, the last thing that we need to solve this end of game puzzle is an owl feather. And we spent so much time on our first go through on this game trying to figure out where would you find an owl feather. And you can ask like literally every character, which is like 1,000 characters. And they all are like, yeah, well the owls live in the forest, so go check out the forest.
A few species of owls live in the forest around Fell's Church.
So we spent so much time trying to find a way to go out to the forest off of the cemetery to find an owl feather. And at the end of the day, the owl feather is underneath our dresser in our bedroom. Why? Why would you do that to me? So now that we have all our stuff, we go to bed, and uh-oh.
Elena, wake up.
Did you break into my house?
His power is getting stronger.
Get out of my house.
He must be bound, quickly. Use the binding spell.
So Mrs. Flowers just like busts into our room in the middle of the night with an oil lamp, like something out of A Christmas Carol, and it's just like, you gotta use the binding spell, you gotta stop the vampire. And we're just like, okay, so we just head down to the catacombs to stop a vampire. And here's the end of game puzzle. It's so confusing. You've gotta light this candle with the matches that we have, burn the Varvain, and then click on all the runes in the center of the floor in the proper order, which isn't so bad, but then this dude shows up. I already have forgotten his name. He just rolls up as an owl, and he's just like, hey, I'm the one that's been attacking everybody. And also, Caroline's dead now. I killed her.
They'll find her body in the art gallery in the morning.
Jeez, dude.
Why did you attack Margaret?
Children are filled with the full potential for life, Elena. They are not soured by its disappointments or made bitter by the anger of living.
I feel very bitter because of this game, Mikhail. Is that what you mean? So creepy. He's just... this whole game is creepy.
My own mother made me what I am so that she would never experience the pain of losing her only child. But after centuries, when at last I fell in love with a woman worthy of being my mate for all time, she tried to destroy me.
Vampire problems, am I right?
And now, with your blood, I will at last have the ultimate power.
What, how did you get that? Did you roller skate around me and just grab it out of my pocket? That's weird. But then just when he's about to kill us and all hope is lost, whoa, Stefan to the rescue. Oh no, Stefan's down for the count. Okay, and here's where it really gets confusing. Remember how I said this end of game sequence is very confusing? So your first thought is to grab the dagger, right? And use the dagger to kill him. Heads up, he just gets flayed alive by fire, so incoming, that's about to happen. But when you're like, oh, I've beaten him. I lit him on fire, he's gonna die now. He just like, whoop, walks out of the fire, and you're like, damn, now what do I do? So you try to stab him with the dagger, and then you die. So you have to use your second chance, and then the second chance dumps you into the beginning of the sequence, and you have to listen to his whole vampire monologue over again.
I never guessed you would make it this far.
I hate that. Why would they do that to us? I don't want to hear the music right now. I want to kill a vampire. So at this point, we looked up a tutorial on how to beat this part of the game, and it said use the silver and blue ring after you light him on fire. So we did that. And then we died again. So we had to go through the whole vampire monologue a third time.
Imagine meeting you in a place of death and decay like this, Elena.
To then realize that you have to light him on fire and then use the silver ring on the pillar to the right of him? I don't know. I don't know why or how I'm supposed to know that. And I will say, again, heads up, when we finally do kill him, it is brutal. He just gets yeeted to high heaven. That sounded so wrong. So yeah, he dies. And, Elaine is just outside the burned down catacombs that don't exist anymore. And she's just like, no, Stefan, he also died.
I love you. I miss Stefan.
But then surprise, Stefan, not dead.
Elena, I couldn't let you be here all alone.
And he gives us, like, the pickup line so hard, I can't stand it.
I gave up hope ever finding someone centuries ago. And I met you.
But Elaine is into it. She's just like, yeah, man, I guess you're my vampire boyfriend now.
Oh, Stefan. I thought I'd lost you.
Love that for them.
You're so much like...
Like who, Stefan? You're not making any sense.
Like the angels on the cathedral when I was a little boy.
I hate that. I hate that, Stefan. Oh, that was so bad. It hurt. Okay, so he just turns Elena into a vampire, and that's the end of that. Love that. Oh, and then we get this groovy outro music. I choked on my tea. I was jamming out to the music too hard. And that's the end of the game. I'm so tired. It's so funny because Her Interactive went on to make what I consider to be some of the best PC adventure games of all time. Like, they made, you know, the later Nancy Drew games, especially Shadow at the Water's Edge and Captive Curse, and all these really cool games that are just so advanced and so, like, top of their field. And it's just so weird to see that this is, like, one of the things that they started making games on. I don't think this is their very first game, but this is, like, one of their first games, and it's just such a far cry from the quality of content that they made even in the past few years. So it's bizarre. This game, I don't even know what to call it. It's just a lot. It's so much. And when I played it, I knew that I had to show it to you guys because I wanted to immortalize how bonkers this thing was, and that's what I do. I just talk about stuff being strange on the internet. You guys know this, so. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. As always, thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. Anything and everything you do to support this channel means the absolute world to me. I'm so grateful to you guys. If you're new here and you're a fan of nonsense, maybe consider sticking around because I post nonsense all the time. And remember, my name is Avery. I'm a YouTuber if you say so, because thanks to you guys, this is technically a YouTube channel. Stay safe, guys. Love you, bye.